Who the fack? Who the fack? Hello listeners, watchers, welcome to Who the Fack. This is where you get to find out some facts about Martin and I, and potential guests in the future. Stay tuned because we do have a guest coming up. Stick around to the end and we shall drop that bomb?
Name.
Start that again. Welcome to Who the Fack, where you get some facts about Martin and I. Before he finishes that, I need to finish this intro. Welcome to Who the Fack. We do want some female guests.
We need female guests. We need
just
female
on a side
energy,
note.
please.
Just on a side note.
First question for Who the Fack, Chris? Fynn. That's gone in my head already. Chris. All right, Chris. First question, where did you learn your craft?
The first opportunity I learned to do anything kind of audio-visual similar to videography was back in the late 90s. A mate of mine, a more wealthy mate of mine, had like a really fancy SLR, not a DSLR, like proper film. And she was like, yeah, you can borrow it, but you need to buy your own film. So I went and, of course, got black and white film and shot some photography around Brisbane City and just fucking loved it. Like, it was the best time I'd had. And I'd always done art and writing and all sorts of stuff, but I was just like, this visual medium, this is awesome. Following on from there, HND in TV production, and then went on to do a BA in filmmaking and screenwriting. And then went straight into working for myself and been doing that ever since. Martin, what about yourself? Where did you learn your craft?
So I actually started making home videos with the DV cam, which was digital, unfortunately, not quite the OG B&W.
Showing your age, Martin, showing your young age.
But I actually, I had to think about this, but I actually used to make pre-YouTube like spoofs of movies like Harry Potter, and I will dig these up at some stage, but full-on spoofs. Me and my mates aged like 8, just sort of filming shit. So I didn't actually realise that's where the beginnings were, because when I was a teenager I was a BMXer, and when I was a BMXer we used to film skate edits, BMX edits, film ourselves getting up to no good, drinking, fighting, all that kind of stuff, you know, teenage shit, rebel years. And it wasn't until I was finishing high school and en route to become a nursery teacher, apparently that's another story for another podcast, but it wasn't until my guidance teacher was like, Martin, what do you really want to do? And I was like, I don't know, I BMX. And like the chances of becoming a professional BMXer was not going to happen.
You got some good advice then.
Yeah, so I got some good advice. But I also film stuff. So he sort of said, you know, have you ever considered TV? And I hadn't even thought of that. I didn't even know that was a career you could pursue. So I pursued that. Didn't get into any universities. I applied to like 6, didn't get into any single one. Applied to City Glasgow College, didn't get in there, and went on a waiting list. And someone dropped out like a week before the course was about to start. Went there,
wow.
Did 2 years, and then applied to the Conservatoire, the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, and did my time there 3 years. Graduated a couple of years ago, a year and a half, I don't know, lost track of time during COVID. And whilst all that, I started freelancing. So self-taught and kind of taught.
Nice. There's some information in there I did not know about, and we will get onto that at a later date. But next question. This is a great one for any creative out there, because I get asked it a lot by people coming up in the creative industries. Martin, what was your first job, your first paid job, I should add, and how much did you get paid for it?
Creative job was a 16th party DJ thing. I used to DJ for my mates' house parties when I was a teenager. So I had a little small, tiny little business there. I got 100 quid for that. And I got to drink, so, you know, win-win. My first video-related job was in 2015, where I had my iPhone 5, it got smashed, I got it fixed at a place in Cardiff called iPhone Fixed. Anyway, I used to get marketing emails from them, and one of the marketing emails I got in 2015 was, we're looking for a YouTuber to be the front face of our brand and, you know, do some videos, and we'll pay handsomely. They definitely didn't say. So anyway, I applied to that, got that, and I did this 2 jobs for them, and it was me delivering to the camera for the first time ever, and let me tell you, I actually did all right. And I was wearing an iPhone.
It was great.
Fix,
I remember. Yeah.
An iPhone Fix Polo, filming it on an iPhone, lit with a fucking candle or some whatever the fuck I had with me, and that was my first creative job, and I got 80 quid for that. And then the second video, he gave me 60 quid, even though it was the exact same amount of work. Cheap cunt.
So my first job, I was working in a call center. I saved up from working in the call center and spent $2,000, because that was the price. Like, you can't get like a 600 quid DSLR back then and be shooting 4K. You had to spend $2,000, and you were shooting HD on physical medium that you had to spend money on and use once. You could tape over them, but that was just bad practice. So I saved up working in a call center, $2,000, and one of my work colleagues and mates back then was like, "Oh, I've got a dermatologist friend. She's been talking about video. I know you do video stuff." I was like, yes, I do, absolutely. I've got the equipment, all the gear, no idea. And so it was dermatologist gig. It was like a number of videos. It wasn't too many, but I broke it down and I got paid twice as much for the hours that I put into doing that videography gig. So it was a short, like, half-day shoot. And I think it was only 3 videos, really. It was a talking head video, bit of text information on screen to reinforce what she was communicating. And I was like, holy shit, man. Like, why am I working in a call center when I can get paid twice the amount and enjoy it more? And it's like a dermatologist video. It's nothing to write home about. Dear mum, I've made it in Hollywood. It's not that type of made it. But what I thought was, you know what? That is a lot better. It was 200 quid.
I think that's such a great question, because I think your first job as a creative, particularly as a freelancer, is such a... Even if it is 80 quid, even if it's 20 quid, even if it's 200 quid, that's pretty fucking decent. I was on 60 quid. It's a great boost for, you know, I could do this, you know? People may pay me for my creative skill. First jobs are so important, and so they will stay with you. So it's a great question.
And I would say that you want to get paid more than the living wage minimum.
Yeah.
Even your first job, you need to value it, because people will take the piss. We know that. And we will get on to a lot of that throughout this year, I'm sure. And I would encourage people to let us know, like, how can we help you? Because I think this year we both agreed that we want to help people more with Cut 2, so that they can literally grab a drink and learn something new, but more importantly, let us know what they want to learn. And if we don't know it, we'll get a guest on to help us help them, basically. We'll do the legwork. Next question!
What is or was your proudest moment as a creative?
I don't know, like, I'm not a massive self-promoter, you know, and I think a lot of creatives struggle with self-promotion. Some don't. We all fucking know them. I don't know, like, I've not had any, like, humongous wins. I'm proud anytime someone says to me, "Finn, we enjoyed that so much and we were dreading it." You know, that kind of attitude of, like, I didn't want to take part in this at all because my boss, my CEO, my whoever forced me to, or the CEO or the MD or whoever had to, and they were like, "You made that so easy." That's a proud moment for me, and I try to make that a regular occurrence, of course. To answer the question, all I could think was that moment when I went, I'm not working in the call center anymore. I'm not taking on any part-time jobs, and I'm going all in. It's like that whole, like, side hustle thing these days. It's like, when do you turn your side hustle into your main hustle? You know what? When you've got enough fucking money in the bank, that's when you do. But you gotta make that bank. So I strategically made that happen. Like I said earlier, saved up to buy the camera. I saved up to make that happen. But it was more than just having enough money in the bank to securely go, I quit. But that was a proud moment. I didn't say like, I quit. I was like,
do you need a video?
I've really enjoyed working here, but yeah, do you need a video? So yeah, that was probably the proudest moment. That was a difficult question for me. What was your proudest moment of years of gone by?
My proudest moment was graduating from the conservatoire last summer. Like I said earlier, like, I left school with an idea that I wanted to do something in film and TV, but like I didn't get into it. I think I got into, like, I think I maybe got I can't remember what's it called when you
Conditional.
Is it conditional? Yeah, conditional. Yeah. So I had like one conditional, and everywhere else that I really kind of looked to get into, that I thought this would be good for me, didn't get in. I was like, fuck. So I went to City Glasgow College, and nothing wrong with that. But I scraped in. You know, like I said, I was on a waiting list. But then sort of doing 2 years there and applying to the most prestigious film school in Scotland, and getting in first like straight away, and finishing that, and that was a huge achievement for me personally.
With a lot of accolade as well. Like you won awards and were part of award-winning crews within your journey there as well. But to kind of echo what you're saying there, I was knocked back from Sydney University of Technology by a number of other universities, and they claimed because I was too old, too mature, right? Bullshit, absolute bullshit. When I moved to Glasgow, I took that on board, right? I was like, okay, fair play. Well, I'm gonna show you my commitment to education. And so the first thing I did when I moved to Glasgow was I undertook a night course in digital video.
God, you're old.
Dave, shout out to Dave at the City of Glasgow College.
Yes.
It was a night course.
Legend.
And basically, I showed interest, I assume a bit of talent, finished the night course, explained to Dave, listen, I want to study this. Like, this is the only reason why I'm doing this course. Like, I was just straight up, you know, fucking classic Australian. Like, Dave, straight up, this is why I'm doing this course. And he was like, oh, listen, I'll mention that to Bill. So I went down next open day, sat down, I was like, oh, this is Bill, because he introduced himself. And I was like, oh, Bill. And he was like, oh, Fynn. And I was like, oh, this is already working. It's already working. And then literally, Bill left his desk. He just left the open day desk and took me up to the studio. Literally took me up to the studio. He was like, this is the studio. This is where you'll be studying, and took like a good 10-15 minutes, came back down, gave me the sheets of paper and stuff, and went, oh, I'll be looking forward to seeing you. And I was like,
what, I'm in?
I left, I left like feeling sky high after that, because I felt like I'd really like
put in the graft and got there.
My basic take home from that is that if you want something, you don't just get it. You need to work for it. Yeah. And it's incremental. You know, like, what do you want in life? Start small and get there. If you're expecting it to be just given to you, then you may as well be born into a millionaire family, because that's the only way that happens. Otherwise, you got to work for it. Yeah. So much similar to you, like, I was fucking knocked back, man.
Yeah.
And had to start with a night course in digital video.
Yeah.
And look at me now.
Top of the world.
We've taken our audience to the highs. Now, let's get to the lows. What has been your lowest point as a creative?
Hilariously, well, not so hilariously, but it's the exact same fucking answer. Graduating from the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. Mate, post-graduation depression, it is 100% a thing. I'd heard of it, but I hadn't experienced it, obviously. But when I graduated, it was kind of like, oh, fuck. Like, because no one really has a foolproof plan. It's kind of like, RCS do a good job of kind of like, in the last few months, you're kind of like encouraged, and you have meetings, one-to-one meetings, and it's like, you know, what I want to do, get the CVs ready, let's all get fucking ready. And then when you leave, you know, send them out, and you get a job, and that's it. That's not it. It's not fucking it. You can send a million CVs. Chances are you ain't gonna get anything back. And that was kind of it for me. And fortunately, I had kind of set the foundations as a freelancer to kind of do that and support myself for a few months at least. And but there's a time, like immediately, where you've done 3 years and you've had a structured 9 to 5, and you've had homework, and you've had other jobs. For me, I had freelance on the side. But then you go from that to, oh my god, I've got all this free time and I'm not making money and don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And there was like 2-3 months of like a really dark period where I was like, what the fuck, is this it? Like, am I fucked? And then I managed to get myself out of that, and you know, work started picking up until COVID hit. But you know, So that was my lowest point. My lowest point was graduating. I was pretty depressed. I missed some of my friends. I missed the structure to my life. That was pretty much it.
Man, God, I think a lot of people can resonate with that. Like, likewise, this was a difficult one, but I would probably say, like, I have lots of low points, just like I have lots of high points, you know? Like, I'm a pretty sensitive soul, which I think a lot of creators are sensitive. But in terms of beginnings, it's always the ends of something that you didn't necessarily plan to end or want to end that are often the lowest points. Things that just disappear. So I was running a previous production company, and it just ended. It just ended because it wasn't working as an organization. So that was a proper low point, because it just went from working to not working, and then having to start again. And at that low point, I tell you what, like, I couldn't see any positive outcome from that end. But now looking back, there was loads of positive outcomes from that end. Like, it was largely positive. It was actually the best thing. And I think if you listen to people who have gone through really tough times, they'll say, well, you know what, looking back, like, that was actually the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah.
You can't see the wood for the trees sometimes, especially if you're trying to make it as a creative. It is difficult, and you will have highs and you will have lows, just like anyone in business trying to turn coin from something that they're doing rather than accepting a job. But that was super low point, is that ending and it not being something I necessarily wanted, but it had to happen because it just was not working.
Yeah.
Started again from scratch. Best thing I ever did. There we have it. That was my low point. But it led to a high point. So if you're currently in a low point, which lots of people are, I'm in a low point. Most of my business disappeared in 2020. Started 2020. Like, it just went poof. I was literally, honest truth, I was looking at fruit picking jobs because I was like, see if there's no work for 3 months because we're in proper lockdown. What kind of work can I do so that I'm actually earning? I had enough, like more than enough in the business, in my own pot to see me through. But like, I don't want to not earn coin, and I don't want to not do something. And I was like, I remember my mum fruit picking to support us back in the day. And my mind went, fruit picking. Doesn't matter what you do, like hard work. Fucking hard work, right, Martin? You're a hard worker. Yeah. I'm a hard worker.
And there shouldn't be any jobs beneath you. Like, one of my mates was fruit picking all through COVID. Fruit picking's probably more fucking financially secure than my current job.
Next question. What advice would you give to your younger self, knowing what you know now?
Well, I'll be honest, there's very little advice that I could give myself that my younger self would actually take on board. But here's me trying.
Such a waster. Such a waster. Out in his BMX, getting drunk.
Even if my future self appeared in front of my younger self and was like, I'm from the future and I've got advice for you, my younger self would be like, yeah, fuck off, mate. Like, you're a whack job.
I'm glad
mate.
I met you in your later life. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know whether it would have worked.
First of all, save your money. Save every penny you can. Spend what you need to, but also save. Like, don't splurge. If you have the change, put it in a savings account. Save. All right. The next one is be nice to everyone. Make as many friends as you can. It's important later in life, I think, to, especially as a creative, you want to develop as many connections as possible. The next one is school doesn't define you. It may set the foundations of the person you could be, but it doesn't define you. You make your own person once you leave, once you get real life experience, once you start doing things out with your bubble. School get it wrong a lot of the time. school got it wrong for me. I've got a framed letter home from school saying Martin is going to amount to nothing. Those aren't the exact words, but they're very, very, very close. I'll show them next time. Yeah, school gets it wrong, and if you're in school, don't worry too much about it. If you've got ideas, if you've got some kind of idea of where you want to go in life, you'll get there with enough drive and enough motivation. Don't worry about what your teachers say, because they're fucking teachers. They're people.
It's one opinion.
Exactly. But you don't know that at the time.
One opinion.
Because you think that opinion is all that matters. And they don't know you either. They only know you for like 40 minutes in maths, and then you fuck off for lunch. School doesn't define you. Next one is always overestimate in your quotes and then negotiate down. All right, just do that. All right, you'll thank me later.
Can I add something in there?
Yeah, please.
Add something in there.
Please.
Is that the other strategy that you can do is to add contingency funds. So quote for the job, but when you quote for the job, put the price next to it and itemize exactly what you're providing, so that there's no confusion as to the deliverables, whether it's time or whether it's a service or a product. Be very specific as to what you are doing for that said price. And if you think, based on how they are acting, talking, explaining what they want, just say, and listen, let's build in some contingency that will be used only if we talk about it and it's required, and build that in. That's another wee top tip.
My final one is surround yourself with like-minded people and get rid of the toxic ones as soon as possible. If you want to be creative and you want to be at the top of your game, surround yourself with like-minded creatives, talented people. Get on with them, make friends, because chances are it'll all rub off in a good way. You'll rub off on them, and you'll be better. You'll be more successful. So that's my last top tip. I nearly knocked that full pint over. Fuck me.
Great top tip. And the sooner you do that, especially within an industry, you'll realize quicker whether it's right for you or not. Certain parts of certain industries attract certain types of people and certain cultures and certain ways of doing things and ways of treating people. And the sooner you do that, the sooner you can work out, do I want to be part of this or not? And I learned that. I went through the whole TV thing and I was like, no. I was just like, no. I do not accept that working environment. I do not accept the hours for the rate of pay. So no, thank you, but no thank you.
See ya.
Fucking great tips. Great tips.
What advice would you give your younger self that would have made a difference to your life?
First one, invest in yourself, which is pretty broad in terms of invest in yourself. It could be time. It could be a certain pastime. It could be a certain hobby. It could be education. It could be just treating yourself to something, something that you deserve. I've been quite frugal across my whole life because I didn't have much growing up. So it kind of inbuilt frugality into what I do. I should have treated myself more. I should have allowed myself to do things and treat myself more, basically.
Yeah, man.
But that's just one part. But invest in your future self, because investing in yourself now is investing in your future self. So I would have liked to sit me down and go, right, invest in yourself now, because that's you investing in you in the future. We don't often think about our future selves because that's not how the brain works. We know our past selves a lot, but it's very difficult to think of our future self. So invest in your future self is what I would have said. And I probably would have said, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
Fuck off.
Number 2, immediately when you leave school, even whilst you're in school, save up 6 months of your average wage. Wherever you live, 6 months of your average monthly wage. Save that up, put it in a savings account, and that is your safety net. You never have to worry about anything happening, and if anything does happen, you have 6 months to work that shit out, which is ample time. This year, I had more than 6 months of that built in. But see, at the start of the year, I was still considering taking on fruit picking work. Right, but that's my frugal mind thinking, right? I haven't changed an iota. Moved around the whole world. Not changed my thinking. Anyone right now, if you're a creative, start saving, put it in a savings account. This isn't for you to go on holiday. This is emergency money that provides you confidence that you can make decisions based on your creative purpose in life, knowing that you've looked after your future self. Next one, save for a fucking mortgage after that, you dumb bastard.
Why do I feel like I'm talking to my mum?
Buy a fucking house, right? There's this classic ad in Australia that goes, rent money, dead money. Just to the point. But what they're essentially saying is, if you're paying rent, you're paying someone else's mortgage. As long as you know you're gonna be in the one place. I wanted to go traveling. I went traveling around the world. I had no interest in buying a property in Australia. But if I was gonna stay in one place, I should have, following that 6-month buffer, started saving for a deposit on a property immediately. Straight away, do it now. Best thing I ever did was investing in the place that I'm currently sitting in. And it was difficult as a freelancer. And if you've got any questions about, oh, well, I don't have a full-time permanent job, the bank's not gonna give me a mortgage. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult, but there are ways around it and there's ways to do it. That's what I should have done in my early 20s. I had to do it in my mid-30s, right? Still enough time though. Loads of time. 4, once you've invested in that property, Finn, every piece of money that you bring in, put 30% of that into long-term investment. Every piece of money that comes in. I do that now in the business. I do that now with what the business pays me. 30% of the business goes into similar elements. 30% of the money that the business pays me goes into similar elements.
Oh yeah.
Fucking golden. Set myself up. Looking after future self. So next, back then, what I would have said to myself, right, index funds. Right, it just tracks the stock market. Invest in that. You can invest in like FTSE 100 in the UK. It's all different around the world. But you're essentially investing in the top 100 most profitable companies in the UK, and it tracks the stock market. Historically, over the long term, it has always gone up. Chances are it will. Back then, that was the only option. The other option would have been personal pension scheme. So any pension that you get through your employer, put more of your income into that if you can. Looking after your future self when you're fucking old and you need it. Young people don't think of their older selves. I wasn't. I don't have any pensions except for recent pensions. Because I was just like, no, I'm not signing up to any pension. Out with that property. That's the other investment, which we've covered earlier. You're already looking after future self by getting on the property market. It's fucking up to you, man. Make all the mistakes you want. Learn from them.
Yeah.
But what I think we've summarized there is what we should have done. You know?
Yeah. Learn from our mistakes.
What would you say to your younger self? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Like what have we missed? Because there'll be so many things that I could have gone on with that list for a lot longer. And you could see a train of thought with mine, which is all financial.
Yeah.
And that stems from me growing up with not a lot, me considerably having a lot more now, but how much more I could have had with a little bit of financial education.
Yeah.
People still don't have financial education because it's not taught in school. I learned quite a few things there, man.
Yeah, I think it's a great segment, and I look forward to diving in to similar questions with all of our guests, our upcoming guests in 2021. So stick around, and if you wanna find out who the guests are, stick around till the end of the show. And if you want to keep up to date with all those guest episodes, head to cut-2.com, and you will find everything there.
Find out more about what the fuck and more exciting segments.
What the fuck? We're you now. We're graded you. What the fuck? FAQ. Oh, that's a good name. FAQU.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, what the?
Nice
No,
one.
no. Well, nah. What the fuck's better because it's more of a
No,
question.
not who the fact. Fact you is much better because we're providing facts for you. I love it. That's much better than who the fact. Shall we?
I need a pee. Cut 2.
Cut to.